Aloha, everyone, and welcome back to the program. You know, the blues is the musical art of storytelling. From Robert Johnson's Deals with the Devil to B.B. King giving his woman 7 children just to see her try to give them right back, the blues always paints a picture. Now, that picture isn't always pretty, but it's usually based on some sort of reality. Now, that story may not necessarily be true in and of itself, but the experience behind it usually is. It's one of the reasons why I love the music of Jim Croce so much. He's truly one of music's really great storytellers. So if you would please like, share, comment, and subscribe, because it is story time with Jim Croce and Roller Derby Queen. Check it out.
Gonna tell you a story that you won't believe, but I fell in love last Friday evening with the girl I saw on the barroom TV screen. Well, I was just getting ready to get my hat when she caught my eye, and I put it back, and I ordered myself a couple of more shots and beers. The night that I fell in love with a roller derby queen, round and round, all round and round, the meanest hunk of woman that anybody ever seen. Down in the arena, she was 5'6", but 215, a bleached blonde bomber with a streak of mean. She knew how to knuckle and she knew how to scuffle and fight. And a roller derby program said that she was built like a refrigerator with a head. Her fans called her Tuffy, but all her buddies called her Spike. The night that I fell in love with a roller derby queen, around and round, all round and round, the meanest hunk of woman that anybody ever seen. Down in the arena. Not help it but to fall in love with this heavy-duty woman I've been speaking of. Things were kind of bad until the day she skated into my life. Well, she might be nasty, she might be fat, but I never met a person who could doubt her that. She's my bleached blonde bomber, my heavy-handed hack-and-sack mama. The night that I fell in love with a roller derby queen, around and round, all round and round, the meanest hunk of woman that anybody ever seen. Down in the arena.
Well, there you have it. One of the greatest storytellers in music history. Jim Croce was born January 10th, 1943 in Philadelphia, and I think it's fair to call him a reluctant music star because as soon as he got where he was looking to go, he was ready to give the whole thing up. Jim Croce's parents were Italian immigrants, and after high school and a year of prep school, Croce attended Villanova University, where he majored in psychology with a minor in German. Now, typically, this is where an essayist or a biographer would examine how these two fields of study helped him develop the characters and the language in his music. However, in the last 143 episodes, I think I've either shown that I won't or am unable to do such a thing. I'm just going to move on. Fair enough? So while in college, Croce was a member of the Villanova Singers and the Villanova Squires. When the Squires performed off campus or made recordings, they were known as the Coventry Lads. And yes, the chicks dug him. No question about it. And with the Singers, he would perform at coffee houses, other universities, and frat parties. Of course, until Bluto came down the stairs and broke his guitar. And the night was going so well until that point. His band was even chosen for a foreign exchange tour of Africa, the Middle East, and Yugoslavia. But more important, on November 29th, 1963, he met his future wife, Ingrid Jacobson, during a hootenanny where Croce was a contest judge. Not too sure what the contest was, to be honest with you. But Jim and Ingrid were married 3 years later, and Ingrid's parents gifted the young couple $500 on the condition that they use those funds to finance Croce's first album, that being Facets. Now, of course, like most supportive parents, they figured that the record would be a complete failure, forcing Jim to quit music and find a real job. Unfortunately, Croce sold every single one of the 500 copies that were pressed, and the plan failed. The plan failed. I think I said that. Sorry, Mom and Dad. So Jim and his wife began performing as a duo, playing songs by Gordon Lightfoot, Joan Baez, and Arlo Guthrie while beginning to write their own songs. Now in 1968, they moved to New York, settled in the Bronx, and recorded their first album, which was for Capitol Records, and that was called Jim and Ingrid Croce. They started playing small clubs and concerts on a college circuit to promote that record. Now, they did this for about 2 years, and well, honestly, the whole thing just really started to suck. So they decided to really just sell everything they owned except for really just about one guitar, and they moved to rural Pennsylvania. Basically, went back home. Jim started playing for about $25 a night in bars and restaurants or wherever. And also to earn extra money, he worked odd jobs, driving a truck, things like this, gave guitar lessons, and of course, he continued to write music. Often songs about the people that he met in those places, including like the young lady he met at the bar that turned into the roller derby queen we just heard. And of course, if you want to know what it was like living in New York for him and his wife at the time, we already told us in New York's Not My Home, so go back and give it a listen. And when Ingrid got pregnant, Jim really determined that this was the time to really make it in the music business. So he sent a cassette of his new songs to a friend and producer in New York, hoping that would help him secure a record deal. And it worked. In 1972, Jim signed a 3-record contract with ABC Records. He then released 2 records with ABC, that being Don't Mess Around with Jim and Life and Times. So he started working a lot, playing large coffee houses, college campuses, and folk festivals while making TV appearances on American Bandstand, The Tonight Show, and Dick Cavett. Like I said, he was working a lot, but financially, things were still tough. Of course, he still had to pay back all the advances, production costs, and whatever other expenses that the record company claimed that he owed, which is basically what every record company does before they actually start paying the artists any sort of a living wage. But by the fall of 1973, things were really coming together professionally for Jim Croce. He received his first gold record. He completed the recording of the album I Got a Name. And of course, that album contains all kinds of great stuff, like, of course, the song I've Got a Name, Lover's Cross, Working at the Car Wash Blues, I Have to Say I Love You in the song. Any one of those which we could have featured on the program today, and they would have fit perfectly in the format. And he was even scheduled to host an episode of the Midnight Special in November of that year to help celebrate the release of his new album. Again, professionally, everything was looking great for Jim Croce. But once again, the travel and being away from his wife and his young son was just starting to become too much for him. And in a letter to his wife, Ingrid, Jim said that he had decided to quit making music and that all he wanted to do was write short stories and movie scripts and really just to withdraw from public life completely. Unfortunately, that letter arrived after Jim Croce was killed in a plane crash on September 30th, 1973. Of course, Jim Croce's popularity soared after his death, and his legacy as a great American music poet remains. And he created characters that, of course, that we know, and characters that we want to know, or even people that we want to be. You know, his lyrics have always made us happy and sometimes sad, and oftentimes left us feeling nostalgic. I mean, after all, who doesn't want to be Rapid Roy the stock car boy with a toothpick in his mouth? And every time we see a fucking around and find out video, doesn't it always end the same way for that person as it did for bad Leroy Brown? Just on the floor and messed up. And haven't we all wanted to capture time in a bottle, even just for a few minutes? Maybe with that special person. Of course, we carry the name. Of course, we carry our names like our daddies did, but did we live that dream that he kept hid? Do we know what they were? Now, of course, most fathers would never open up to us and talk like that. Most of us sons would never ask our fathers those questions. But I guess if dad would have those open conversations with us, maybe he would have told us to stay away from a bleach blonde mama with a streak of mean. He might have, but you know, maybe not. After all, mom was pretty deadly with a spoon. Wood or plastic, those damn things hurt, man. Telling you. Anyway, there's a link to Jim Croce's website in the description below. I really hope you check that out and listen to more of his music. It's just really, really great shit, man. Also, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's all I got. I got to go. You got to get out of here. See you next time, my friends. Y'all take care. See ya.